Okay, so now it's September 4th, 2021. I'm going to finish this video. So, what happened was I canned the broth from the second batch after it was basically degreased with having the pot in the fridge so that the fat could solidify and you could scrape it off before you can it. This is the one that wasn't degreased, I guess you could say. This one was. As you can see, it's still a fair amount. Okay. Now, on this one, this batch, I had, how many jars? I had 6 jars. One didn't seal, and that's still in the fridge. I don't want to pull things down. Hold on a minute. I'm gonna pull this. Okay. Now, these ones have been sitting here ever since. They're going down. You can see what's happening here, right? All right. You pick it up from the rim. Okay? That's fine. Right? Okay? This is a heavy jar because it's full, right? But basically, these are sealed. Otherwise, they'd pop off. Okay? Same with this one. Now, when you're canning stock, this is why I'm turning on the camera and finishing up this video. It's best if you can get this size in terms of a rim versus this size. Cut back on grease. Because when I came out this morning, 3 jars didn't seal. Now, it could be something to do with the actual lids themselves, right? Or maybe because I left it in a canner this time, and I didn't take them out until after that vortex was done spinning around, right? Because I had the 1 jar pop with the first batch because of that vortex spinning around, popping the jar, sucking it in, popping the jar, sucking it in, popping the jar, sucking it in. Okay? In this situation, if that was occurring, it was occurring inside the pressure canner. However, 3 jars didn't seal. These ones are okay. You can see. Right? I'm showing you how to do it. Okay? You don't have to take it far off the ground. Far off the counter. But you got to lift it up a little bit. Because if the seal is no good, wandering eye, it's going to drop. Okay? So those ones are fine. For the most part. I'm done now with broth. Okay? I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to wind up here with stuff, but I'm basically burnt out. And of course I've got things to clean and sort out and da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So now I'm just basically going into dry goods, getting them out of their boxes or whatever, right? That will be my next video or two. And just putting all that stuff away. Wondering if it's going to make a difference in terms of a potential food crisis because of what our governments are doing on a grand scale when it comes to food distribution, right? I already said that there was something wrong with the UV rays this year in terms of it was bright and sunny, but whatever it is that makes plants flourish just wasn't in the rays this year, okay? There wasn't that many insects to pollinate things, okay? And something is basically, I don't know, killing off plants. And if it's not that, they're making them infertile, right? They're not producing the fruit. They might produce the flower, but they're not going into fruit, right? Because there's nothing to pollinate. Or It's just something going on. I figure a lot of it has to do with the UV rays this year, and the weather was right. Like we're coming into another cold snap again. Anyway, and then of course the farmers are having issues, right, with drought and just that kind of stuff. Cold weather or hot weather, drought, probably experiencing that same UV ray situation, right? Obviously, when it's out in an open field, it's different than in your yard, but okay. So, I don't know if spending all that money on food prepping stuff in general, whether it was food or whether it was to make cheese or make tofu. I bought a little tofu maker and a little cheese maker, and, but I bought a lot of food, people. Again, this year. I did that last year, too. And I'm like, well, you can hunker down. The point is will your government let you hunker down, or will the government come in and steal it all? Literally, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how long can I hunker down before my government comes in and steals it all? Because of the things that they're doing, that much of it I disagree with. I seen my landlady look like metal, okay? She was gray, literally fucking gray, when she showed up at my door. Oh, I don't know, it was a month or two ago. I think it was about 2 months ago for her rent. And she looked great, people. And she's already taken both of her inoculations. I have never seen my landlady look gray, okay? Ever. And then she tells me just a few days ago that she's been getting sicker and sicker, and she's losing weight, and she's not well. I gave her some pine needles. I told her to do some research on, make sure she don't drink those ones, because I'm not sure if those ones are the right ones. But so she's got her whole family now looking up pine needles and what's the best pine needle to consume. She goes, what's in it? I said, I don't know. There's something in it that's good for you. It's something that our governments are depriving us of. And then it makes me wonder if that's why they're cutting down all the freaking trees out here. They're just wiping out all the trees, people. Why? Why are they wiping out all the trees when in fact some of these trees can actually help people to stay healthy? Think about it. So I hope she takes my advice. She didn't take my advice when I told her to stop wearing the masks. She still wears them. I told her it's making her sick. She won't believe me. She says she can't swallow things and stuff. She blames it from going to Pakistan in November of 2020. I'm like, no, you were fine when you've been fine. You were fine until all this shit started happening and you started wearing masks, and then you ran off and got your inoculation. And now her health is completely deteriorating. And she knows it. She can feel it. I hope it reverses itself. That's why I told her to start drinking pine needle tea. You've got enough pine trees around. Find which one is best for you. So she's got her family members looking it up for her. I hope she takes my advice. And I hope it helps her, people. I really do. So in the meantime, I'm hunkering down in here, wondering if I'm going to get robbed by my government. I'm not worried about my neighbors. I'm really not. I'm not worried about the homeless people out here. I'm really not. I'm more worried about my government coming in and just taking everything. Just take like they took Uncle John. Take just like they took Shmei's organs. take like they took Sierra with their movie-making fucking popcorn freaking pay at the door cinema. Just like they took from Amari and Andre and the rest of my family. And they're still taking. And all these healthcare professionals, you know, they're fighting back, right? And when I listen to, don't even call them politicians, I don't know what they are, but when I listen to them out here talking, they're trying to suggest that the healthcare system is, teetering in terms of being stretched out to the max, and we haven't even, come into some dire situation yet. And that's only in part because of what our governments have been doing, right? And, there's nurses shortages or, healthcare for the elderly aid shortages. And if that continues to increase, where does that leave Amari with his hip surgery if it gets real bad and the union fights back? Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take for the union to fight back. But the thing is, the union controls the government, people. That's the thing. We don't think, we're not taught that in school. But basically, it's the union who controls the government. Okay, it's the union that makes the government. Just like they're bringing in all these natives right into their, I don't know what the hell they're trying to do, but it's like they're trying to appoint the native people as government without being elected. That's the way I see it, right? But it's still the union that implements these changes in society. So this is where it becomes that controlled opposition, right? Like I said, 20 months of, since this all started, going into 21, 22 months, what happened to that lawsuit that everybody was fundraising for a year and a half ago, right? $300,000, where did it go? And who does it represent, really? Who does it represent? Well, so anyway, no regrets, don't look back, right? It was the right thing to do, okay? I'm looking really forward to cooking, I guess you could say, right? And, but right now, I'm so tired from all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video as is. I start working on converting it. It's probably going to be a long one. I'll pick up with the lard, okay, it's still in the fridge, and I still have these plums, and I still have this, so we're just going to keep going through it. But I think I need just a tad little break from it today, outside of maybe getting things ready for tomorrow, because I'm exhausted. But I have to go outside and pull a few weeds and work on the compost box. Right, because the apple peels and the corn husks and that kind of stuff. I have to spread it around, right? Put some grass in there and put some weeds with few roots and, right? And, pack it down, run a little, put some sticks in there and put a piece of cardboard in there and then start that layer all over again so that I get good dirt at some point in the next year or two, probably two, right? Unless, of course, I want to go deeper down into the box, then I'm getting into some real primo stuff, but that's for another day. So it's not raining, but it's kind of like chilly out there, just a tad bit, it's I don't know how to say it. That's what I'm going to do. So, if you can, they're hard to find because they don't really make them anymore. They make a lot of wide mouth. They make a lot of wide mouth jars, but I never find them juice type jar. Scares you when you do it, right? As if you want greasy soup all over your, greasy broth all over your counters. This is where you need to go to garage sales, thrift stores, places like that, and specifically look for a regular mouth juice jar that's in a 1 quart size. Okay, because it's less apt to pop if you're popping greasy things. If you're canning greasy things. Obviously, not for meat. Use a wide mouth. Okay? But when it comes to liquid, try to avoid it. But if you have no choice, you have no choice. But in your travels, look for these kind jars. Completely different. Alright? Completely different, you can see. This one was canned in 2017. That's my tomato. I didn't even look to see. It doesn't even look like the lid oxidized. Anyway. Okay, same day, what is it, August 31st, 2021, right? I'm on now to video number 2. I'm going to finish up with this meat. Here's that second pot of broth, which is basically going to be canned as broth. And then I have 3 sets of spare ribs in there. Wandering eye. Okay, you can see. So after they cook for a while, I will put them in those little trays, like I did last time, with a little bit of barbecue sauce. You could do mushroom sauce, whatever you want, right? Okay, right? You could do whatever you want in there. And then just, I'm going to try and find some freezer space. Anyway, I don't know if this is ground pork or ground chicken. Either or, just because those chicken bones were in there. They're in there now. Okay. More than likely pork. It looks kind of like pork, but it's sticky like chicken, so it's hard to say. Anyway, I'm going to cook it up because we kind of want to degrease it a little bit. I have, 16 jars, right? That's what I had last time. You can see it's right there. Okay, right, nice. One in the fridge because of whatever. Here, this is still nice and hot. Okay, so that as soon as my jars are full, I just move pot and then fill them up with nice broth. And this is something that I wanted to mention here. You can see how it's solidifying. But if you put it in a cool room, anti-chamaise room is really good for that. Right? And closer to the north wall, less apt for it to pop the jar. Don't forget, that's where all the flavor is too, right? Where's my eye? There. That's where all the flavor is too, right? And you know, people need fat in their diets. But what I'm noticing here is, look at that, nice, right full. Look at that, nice in terms of liquid, all the way up. That's great, right? Make really, really good gravy. Okay, so I guess we're going on to round 2. Now, before I get too much into it here, I know I looking rough, right? It's been like a real race here between the yam and the corn and all this meat, and, you know, and well, I just put a new burner on my stove. My God, I ordered it. It came all the way from Winnipeg, right? Because my stove is like from oh my fucking God, what?
Sorry.
That Andre running through the house barreled into my box with my element in it. God forbid if he broke that element, I'll tell you. Because that was like, oh my God. I don't know, $100 and some odd. Anyway, I put my new burner in because at the same time, you know, my element needs to be changed. I've been having a problem with my burner. I just plugged it in, people. It was nice and bright and red, so I'm like ecstatic, right? Like I actually have a burner that actually works now. Let me see if it goes back up. So, okay, what was I going to say? I was in the middle of trying to say something here. Andre knows not to be running through the house, especially when things bunk up, like jars and pots and bags, and because I mean, this is all food stuff right now, right? Right, people? You know, food for an emergency, right? In case of a natural disaster, like an earthquake or some, you know, tornado rushes through or something like that. Not some man-made disaster where the food dries up. And I mean, obviously, something's going on with our weather because now it's like almost practically freezing cold outside. It's like damp. Things are molding. Things are wilting. Nothing's growing. It hasn't been growing. Nothing's ripening. You know, like they've done something with the sky. And I'm telling you, they did something with the UV rays over the summer. They blocked them out, even though it was bright and sunny and the sun was out. There was very little UV rays in terms of what plants like to grow, right? That's why everything is so stunted, you know, right? There was just a short window of growing in there, and outside of that, everything else just went kind of like, almost like it was in a dormant stage, and there wasn't enough flying insects to pollinate things, right? I got tomato plants that have absolutely no tomatoes because nothing got pollinated. Like, how does that work, people? Okay? And the few tomatoes that did grow was like that, just a few. Not a lot, just a few. Right? I can see one or two plants being a late bloomer, but, you know, all those plants in there, unless somebody came into my greenhouse and poisoned my dirt, or, because we know, right, lurk, what's going on in my neighborhood. But I don't think that's it. I honestly think it's the weather, because it's almost like that outside, too, in terms of, you know, sure, we got tomatoes, but now, mind you, my tomatoes got in late, but even still, you know, very few are, they're green. Let's just say that, okay? Beans grew. Potatoes grew to some degree. I mean, kale always grows. Swiss chard always grows, right? But, I don't know. So, there's a couple of things I want to do in terms of a video, or more than one, in line of kind of what I'm talking about in terms of how humanity, I guess you could say, is being sabotaged, basically, right? You know, I mean, if you've been watching my videos, you can see that I've been stacking and packing the food pretty hard for actually quite a few years. I made a mistake with my last video or two in the past there, just recently, where I said, oh, if I wouldn't have went off and, you know, and bought this and bought these and bought the beans, and there would be no food in the house. No, people. I've got food in the house. What I'm doing right now, and what I've been doing over the last couple of months, is just topping it off so that if for some reason the food becomes unavailable because it's not growing, or it's not being shipped in, or it's being held hostage because you didn't get, you know what, with the jab inoculation, right? You know, they're trying to withhold food from people. You know, we've got our politicians, including in BC, you know, creating a mob, gathering a mob to start like cornering and ostracizing and criticizing and intimidating and bullying and threatening people who, like me, who don't want to get inoculated with an experimental analog. Knowing what I know. I mean, it's enough that my family's been targeted all these years and has been acted upon in terms of illegal organ harvesting, not once, but twice, medical kidnapping, you know, that kind of shit, right? All this other stuff that's been going on. It's enough that my family and I have had to put up with that crap. But now we've got, you know, a Dr. God, a Dr. Death, mandating a medical procedure to 5.6 million people as if she's top doc. As I'm printing out 45 fucking pages in regards to a study done on masks. 45 pages. Where the common denominator is, if I was to tell you, YouTube would say, oh, it's misinformation. You can't tell them that information. No. So when I do that video, I'm going to have to put it up on BitChute, people. Because if you notice, my videos have been pretty much in a bitch state, right? Just being that bitch. And I don't mean like a bitch as in like a bitch, but I'm like, oh yeah, I'm your bitch. I'm your puppet. I'm your doormat. I'm your let me beat you down and stomp on you and just throw you around town and, you know, and then say, come here, bitch. Now I'm gonna fuck you. I wonder how many other people are on that hamster wheel. Serious. So I can't do that right now. I can't do those videos that I want to do because of this. Which, in the great grand scheme of nothing, means a lot. Considering what the weather is doing, considering what our politicians are doing, considering where half of or more of society has got their heads at. In terms of, they think it's okay to join a mob so they can attack people like me and my family. Because we disagree with their whatever it is. Because half the time they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Because they're either waiting for the study, or they're waiting for the world study, or, you know, if it doesn't match with what they're trying to sell you, then they forget about the world, and now they're just focusing on what's going on in Canada. As they're practically fucking begging you to do something that they damn well know is illegal when it comes to mandating a medical procedure for 5.6 million people. As you got the, what's his name? Like the Prime Minister of Canada purchasing, I don't know how many, but enough for 36 million people times 7 inoculations in the pipeline, because obviously he made a backroom deal with somebody, right? And now, right, he has to get his money's worth, basically. It's almost like British Columbia, Canada, somewhere down that pipeline, somebody's taking a whole bunch of fucking bribes here, and if they don't produce, they want 100% inoculation. If they don't produce it, their lives are on the line. So therefore, they're going by any means necessary to entrap people. Okay? Vulnerable individuals into doing something that could potentially harm them severely. Potentially. But But not in BC. No, 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 no. Because we live in a freaking bubble where the coroner covers everything up. And if it's not the coroner, it's the police. Oh God, I don't want another broken jar. What's happening here? I broke like 3 jars already. In the last week. Okay, so this is almost like I'm cooking this right through here, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to turn this off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the grease. Just focus on food, people. I can't really tell you what I'm thinking. I can't, not on YouTube. It's not worth it. But this stuff is just as important too, though. That's the thing. Right? I mean, it's really unfortunate that I'm doing it for nothing. It's really unfortunate that I'm doing it to be fucking, what? Where am I going to end up, people? What? For all this effort, for what I'm doing, where is it going to get me? Tell me, You think these people are going to respect what I do? Hell no. They think it's just entertainment. Remember that. I've got it in writing, okay? So, in the meantime, this corn here, I'm going to drain the fat from, there's not much there, really. But I'm going to take it out. And then I'm going to take half this corn, half of it. And I'm going to mix what's in my frying pan. And then I'm going to start filling up my jars. Okay, that's our first batch. I want this done. I might have to do 2 canners at 75 minutes. I've got 16 jars here. I don't know until I'll probably do more than 16 jars. So what, 16 and 16, that's like 32 jars of meat so far, not including what I put in the freezer, not to mention this beautiful broth that I'm coming in with, not to mention the lard that why am I doing it? What for, people? What for? Do you think, honestly, that my government respects me? Or my family? Or my grandchildren? Or my children? Or anybody around me? Do you honestly think that they respect me for doing this kind of stuff? So, I'm living on my terms, okay? And my terms is, I'm going to take this out. I'll show you in a minute. Hold on. And that's another thing, you really need to stop and think about, I think they call them gifters. Grifters or gifters or something like that. That's where people go out and rally and do things, and they're always asking for money, right? And save this and save. You got to donate money to save this person's, save this, or to help with this in terms of filing lawsuit or whatever it may be, okay? But if you notice, nothing happening. Nothing happening. What happened to that lawsuit with that Rocco dude, right? With all the freedom fighters. Where the hell did that go? Oh, I know. They said they were going to be filing it soon. Well, it's been like 20 months. How much is soon? Well, they've got over, I think, $200,000, $300,000. How much money does it really take to file a lawsuit, people? Think about it. Right? Birds of a feather like to flock together. Just remember that, okay? Like I said, I can't say everything I want on YouTube unless I talk their language. If I talk their language, then I'm part of the crowd, I mean, what else are you going to think about when you're doing stuff like this? And for what reason? Seriously, for what reason? When they're coming after you anyway. When they've got a fucking gang coming after you anyway, people. Not as if a gang hasn't been stalking my family, okay? This is the point. What gives this so-called Dr. God, Dr. Death the right to come and fucking stalk me even more? With her prescription. Her medical prescription, as if I'm her patient. How does that work? And I don't know what how the world even got to this point, people. I thought we had laws. I'm serious. I thought we were a civilized civilization. Nothing seems to be civilized anymore. Like it really doesn't. It just really, really doesn't. Okay, so now there's going to be liquid in this corn, right? So we kind of want to just heat it up. Right? Okay? A little bit. Right? Because otherwise it's going to release liquid into the jar, which is fine, like, you know, but you kind of want just a little bit of it to evaporate off. I'm mostly using corn with this batch, because I have it here, right? That was the one that I went like this and I forgot to blanch it, so lucky me, right? So no salt, nothing, because the broth has its own flavor, and as this cooks, right? As a matter of fact, you could probably throw a little bit of broth in there. As this cooks, in terms of like cooking in the jar, it's still gonna release flavor from the meat and whatnot, right? You're just doing this to remove the excess fat, right? You don't, obviously you can see you don't get rid of it all, right? It doesn't all go away, but it makes really good gravy, okay? So, just to keep it simple on myself. Oh, you don't know how good this broth is, man. Oh. So, I'm just going to put a little bit in there because I want this corn just a little... just if you cook it a bit, you get more in, right? So this is batch number 1. Okay. Do you see? Alright, that will be about, oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 jars maybe. Okay, so as you can see, right, in this situation, I'm not going to waste this. I can't hold that. It's too hot. Before I'd waste it, I just pour it in there. Okay? Okay, so, I don't know. I keep thinking about how they're trying to mandate a prescription. Right? Who are they to mandate anything when it comes to making you take something? Right? You see, they've been getting away with it for so long with the healthcare system, people, that now they've just taken it outside of the box. When Uncle John went into that, you know, when they medically kidnapped Uncle John, they forced a shot on him, so-called, supposedly, a flu shot, right? Right? You know, right? So, he didn't want it, but they gave it to him anyway. They didn't give him no choices, right? They're losing lots of workers, are falling through the cracks. I don't know. They were complaining that they don't have enough workers. And that, you know, everything is running on max and just, I don't know, people. Like I said, I'm going to have to sit down and walk through it. Okay. So, I don't think I'm going to keep this video too long outside of what I'm talking about, right? You know, because I'm just so flabbergasted with it, people. Like, what the fuck am I wasting my time for? If I'm just going to be gang stalked, intimidated, threatened, bullied, right? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, people? Right? I mean, I've seen some pretty bad shit go on around my life, right? Okay, like, bad. And, like, we're not dealing with a compassionate crowd here, okay? You're right? It's just, we're not. We're not. So, what's happening here is, that's that pork, right? I already put some of it, do you see the fat? Right? I already put some of it in the freezer because there was like 3 or 4 of those and they were big, right? So, you know, so I think 2 went in the freezer, and I think I've canned 2 anyway, right? Something like that. I'm not keeping track. I just know that it was a lot of meat, and I'm not trying to defat this outside of just frying it a little bit in the frying pan, and then you know, I'll just make sure that it's very close to the north wall in Shimei's room, closer to the floor where it's really, really cool, and that will really help to cut back from having jars pop open, okay? As long as that fat really can't crawl, it's okay, right? And again, you know, that's what makes meat taste tasty, right? Your body needs it, okay? So especially when the plants aren't growing, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay? I mean, I looked at my neighbor's tomatoes, and he's got green tomatoes out there too. So, right? Everybody will be eating green tomatoes this year, which I'll be canning. Okay? I still got tomatoes in the fridge, so I'm okay. So this here, what I'm doing here, is I'm going to fry this one up, and then halfway through it, I'm going to throw the corn in there, and then fill up more jars. And then I've got this meat in here that's been flavored with stuff, right? So I probably won't do anything with it outside of just cut it up. Like, I'm not going to rinse it off. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'll just put flavored beef. It looks like it's beef. I think it's beef. I'm not sure. Something. It's got the... shit. I almost cut my thumb. Oh, I'm slicing my... Look at this one. That one really hurts. There you go. You see this one? Do you see that? Do you see that? Oh, that one right there. Right? I just did it to my thumb, but I missed it. I can feel it just a little bit. Oh. Right, I'm working hard and fast, I'm telling you. And for what? That's what I'm thinking now. For what? To be gang-stalked. To be told that you're no good. Right? Right? To be threatened. Right? To be injured, to be harmed. Okay? Right? Yeah, I know. I've been through it so many times already, it's pathetic. Okay? And all I ever wanted to do was do the right thing, people. You know, help my community. Right? You know? Right? Support my neighbors. Right? In terms of, you know, welcome to the neighborhood. You know? Oh, shit. See? I'm talking. Now I just went... on it. I just feel it right here now. Oh. I need to pay attention. It's because I put my fingers really close to the knife. That's why. Right? I have to hold it tight. This isn't the greatest knife. But anyway. More talking video. Right? It's my last. I'm tired. That's why I don't want to be doing this. Okay? But I'm glad I did this. Now I'm debating whether I should do fish or not. I was kind of looking forward to having a little bit of fish because I kind of wanted that fish chowder. Right? I got the jars. Right? It's expensive, eh? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He said that I can get it anytime. So we'll see what happens over the next month or two. Right? Let me get caught up with some others. Let me do this. Right? Hold on. I need to get caught up with this stuff. Now, if Pastor Granny comes with another box of something, you never know. Sometimes she just gets so much, right? I might take a box of like a box of carrots or something, or a box of potatoes. If that comes, I will do it. Right? I'm not asking, but she just comes and says, "Here." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I think she's testing me to see how knowledgeable I am. Honestly, right? I think I'm starting to surprise her, because she's like, "You're working hard," and I'm like, "Yeah." Right? Right? Because, a lot of people would have gave up by now. Anyway, this is my basil, so I thought I'd bring that in. I got some nice mint surviving out there, so I should actually get the mint and get it in the dehydrator before it turns bad. And then all I got, people, was 2 cucumbers, a couple of other little cucumbers growing, and then I got these 4 big yellow cucumbers. I just got busy, right? So anyway, probably good for seeds and nothing more, right? I got 1 little acorn squash. This is the growing season, okay? Right? And there's a couple. I seen there's a couple over there. I know there's like 1 across the fence, which they can have because they got kids, and it's good for the kids to be involved with the earth, right? So I'm pretty sure the parents, even though they can't speak English, I think they can figure it out, that they can just do what they want with that, right? I see every now and then the kids running around through the garden, so that makes me feel good, right? I'm glad I planted it, okay? Seriously, because if I wouldn't have done that, it just would have been a bloody dust bucket in there, and I've been working in that yard for a couple of years already, so next year when they go to plant, it will be much better for them. And the children get to play in the yard, in the garden. So I'm good with that. I really don't need the food, people. I'm good, okay? And then, this is what I mean by the weather is changing, right? I don't know if you can see that, but everything's so damp now, and with the smoke and no sun, right? It's just, I don't know. So anyway, I got a big bowl, you can see, of the beans that I said I was just going to let dry and husk them. I'm not canning these ones because we already canned a little bit. And then I've got 2 ripe vine tomatoes, right? And, where are they? Right here. What a bounty. Look at that bounty. Do you see that bounty? This is pathetic. Okay, normally my greenhouse is full of tomatoes, people. Something seriously was wrong with the weather this year. I'm telling you, not only were there not pollinators around to pollinate the plants, okay? The flowers were budding, but nothing got pollinated, so nothing produced. Half of the flowers didn't produce nothing. And even though it was hot and sunny and very bright, there was something wrong with the UV rays, okay? Now, I don't know if this is what you call a midnight snack, but I've got quite a few tomatoes that are like purple, right? And taking a long time to go red, if they even go red. So I don't know. They call that particular tomato is called a midnight snack. So I'm going to Google that because I'm wondering if that's normal. I've never seen a purple tomato before. With this weather, I wouldn't be surprised. So I might be able to get 1 more can after the fact in terms of canned tomatoes. Even if I have to use a little bit of a green tomato to top off 1 jar. I think I've got something like 6 jars now because I had my little ripening spurt. But as the weather is now, it will be lucky for the plants to not die. It's getting cold. Okay, like too fast, too soon. And it's cloudy and smoky. Right? As we've got contact tracers now hunting people down again. I'm going to provide the link to what I'm kind of making reference to. If you want to go watch it as to why I'm so hyper sensitive and agitated and kind of pissed off. And then when I get more time, I'm probably going to backtrack and do a commentary on it. And then I'm going to upload that up on BitChute. Seriously. I want to have Dr. God, Dr. Death, whatever she is to you, say what she's got to say. And then I want to bring in somebody else and add in what they've got to say. And so on and so on and so on and so on. In terms of this is what this individual says. And this is what this individual says. This is what this individual has to say again. And this is what this individual has to say. So who the fuck is telling the truth, people? And it's not about misinformation or any of that crap. Okay? They have done studies. They have done studies on masks. And I mean, anybody with any common sense knows. You deprive the body of oxygen, there's going to be consequences around it. For any length of time. Even if it's in a minute way. Okay? Long term, there's too many variables. There's the psychological, the physiological, the biological, just so on and so on and so on, and chemical, and just so on. That all get affected by depriving the body of oxygen in the capacity that it's required to have, right? I want to talk about that. So, anyway, it really shouldn't be my fight, but it is. To some degree. Because, what do you call it? I don't want my grandkids to be treated like cattle any more than they already have been. And I'm going to leave it here, and then I'll come back and show you, right? I'm just wondering, because they quoted today over 1,000 deaths. I don't know exact number right now. When it relates to toxic drugs, in other words, fentanyl, right? Because it's purposely being put in the community to purposely kill people. And if they can capitalize off their snuff movies while they fucking do it, they're doing it, okay? Trust me, they're doing it. All right? But I'm just wondering, because we're not like the United States, we don't have 320 plus million people, right? Where, 800,000 can just simply up and disappear and nobody blinks an eye and, not too many are too concerned about it, right? Okay? And maybe half of them are found, but the other 400,000 are never seen or heard from again. Well, it would be, if too many people went missing in the province of British Columbia, Canada, out of 5.2 million, and it was kind of happening regularly in terms of, in terms of, people disappearing, there would be an outcry. But you see, they need those bodies. So the only way to cover their tracks when it comes to that kind of crap would be to flood the community with their toxic drugs that brings in bodies and extra money on the side through the dark web, right? Depending on the circumstances, right? Like, I'm so choked, people. So choked, can you tell? When I'm working hard like this, I don't know if I get overstimulated, because I'm like hardwired to be like, okay, you just gotta keep on doing this until it's done. And then after that, you know you have to do this. And then after that, you gotta go outside and do that. And then that Pastor Granny, she's gonna come in with a box of carrots yet. And you're not gonna turn that away because we know that the world is going to, the hell basket and back. And you sink or swim and you don't want to sink. So you're gonna do those carrots whether you like it or not. Doesn't matter how you fucking feel. Right. Oh. As people around me are like, whew, they don't think anything bad is going to happen, right? Like in my immediate, right, surroundings, for the most part, they just can't fathom, right? But then, they're not growing anything per se, They're just taking it all for granted. Okay, so now we're going to put the rest of this corn, the whole bag, into that, and we're just going to heat it up for a second. Right? If I had carrots, I'd put carrots in there. But I got corn. Pork and corn go good together. Just heat it up a little bit, because then you get more in your jar. This one I'm going to brown a bit more. Right? I'll be doing this till tomorrow because tomorrow I'll be canning stock, right? I'll be using this whole pot today for whatever jars I'm going to use, and then whatever's left, if I only get 2 jars of stock, I'm canning 2 jars of stock, right? Quart size, okay? Because it's like 20, 25 minutes, just plain up broth, okay? You don't have to do 75 minutes on a pint, okay? It's 90 minutes on a quart, 75 on a pint, but on a quart of broth, it's only something like 20, 25 minutes. Because that's good broth. I don't want it to go to waste. Boy, I so wish I could get past the Granny a kitchen, you don't know. Like, in my head, as I'm going through this, like I'm thinking I should go door to door. Knock, 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 knock. Excuse me, would you help to get a community kitchen out here so that, we get donation and we can help to feed people, whether we're bringing in little Meals on Wheels for the elderly, right? Like those little things that I made that went with the freezer kind of thing. Or, right? Or whatever, but the government has made it so hard, right? But you see, that's the point, people. That's why they're dying. Like they're just dying, right? Because many of them are falling through the cracks, right? I just don't get a chance to get out there and talk to them. But I'm pretty sure that when I do get out there and talk to them, you're going to hear how there are people out there that know that there's snuff movies going on, know that they're being targeted, know that they're being pushed out of services in terms of sheltering and that kind of stuff. To bring in a immigrant population that will comply to whatever the order of the day is. Who will take ex-union jobs and will work at minimum wage with very few benefits. Where years ago they were government employed jobs that had pension plans, like Uncle John, a janitor, cleaning the Parliament buildings, right? But look what happens if you have a pension plan and a superannuation life insurance policy. All you do is become a target to have it taken from you as they take their life away from the people that have those things, unless, of course, somehow they're above that pecking order, right? Obviously, John was at the bottom of the pecking order. Thinking too much. Okay, so, dirty hands. Hold up. I'm trying to show you something here without turning off the camera. Just got one hand. Okay, do you see that? This here has some kind of, I don't know, Punjabi flavor paste or something on it, you know, right? And then it was here too. You can see, right? These were like already because I can smell it, right? Can you see? So I'm just going to cut these up, and then this is separate. So I'm just going to cut these ones all up, get them in here, and then obviously fry these. I don't know. I'm going to be short on jars, obviously, you can see, right? And that will be fine. So I'm, right, because I've got other things. I think there's a couple of more other little things in the fridge, so hold on. Okay, so that's basically beef. Just like I had hamburger over here, okay? And it has spices and stuff on it, right? This is chicken and pork, I think. I noticed there was chicken in there and pork. And again, it has spices in it, right? They spiced it up. You know how you go to buy something that's already pre-spiced? Well, this is what this is. It doesn't smell bad, right? So everything smells good, people. Like everything was basically fresh in terms of like no spoilage, right? Okay. So we just want to do this a little bit. Hold on. So yeah, like in the old days, people, when people actually had fucking morality, okay? Not that you put the word fucking with morality, but you get my point, right? In the old days, we used to have such a thing as called Meals on Wheels for the elderly, so that the elderly could actually stay in their homes. Not anymore, though. No. That's too compassionate, you know what I'm saying? It's just more economical for the government to flush them out of their homes, right? Once they get to the hospital, chances are, right, if they're easy to take advantage of, they're never getting out. Never, ever, 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 ever getting out. Many, many Uncle Johns. Okay? But I'm like, I'm doing this, right? And I'm like, why can this not, why can't we be making Meals on Wheels for, you know, people living in their houses that could benefit from a little assistance or something? You know, right? Never gonna happen, though. It's not what it's about anymore. Right? It's not what it's about. So I'm on my last little bit here. I don't know what I have in the fridge, but I've got 5 more jars here, so I will definitely get that into these jars for sure. I don't put the liquid in until I'm ready. I wash the rims and everything. Have to wash the lids. Right? Find screw bands. This whole year. Huh. What a terrible canning season. Can't find this, can't find that. Lost this, lost that. Don't know where that is. And then when I find it, I use it for a while. Like, where's my things, my prongs to pull? I don't know. What it was, I had doubles. And then last year, I do a sweep through my kitchen, right? Wipe things down, whatever. And I ended up putting extra funnels. See, I can't even find my funnel. I have like extra funnels and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I normally have them up there, but for whatever reason last year I ended up putting them in somewhere, in some kind of bin somewhere. You think I can find it? No. No, I cannot find it. So this is where we're at. This is the beef. Alright, same idea. I didn't rinse it off. It smells fine. It's got spice on it. So it will go good with the broth. It will just be a little more spicier. That's all. Alright. It'll be tasty. same thing with that pork and chicken. Right? I got 4 jars. 3 jars? 4 jars. 3 jars. 3 jars of that. And then 7 jars of that. Right? One is ground pork. The other one is the cut pork. Right? Okay, so I'm at the very end. So after this is done, I got 1 jar basically left. I might be able to take, this is just the pork, right? I might be able to take a few pieces, just piece them in, just a few little spots, okay, right? I fill up the 1 jar, obviously. Maybe I could throw a couple in there or whatever. But this, after this is done, I'm going to fry this up, and then once that's done, because that won't take very long, right? And as that's frying, I'm going to come in here and start wiping down the rims, only this time I'm going to put a little bit of vinegar on my cloth there, right, to cut down on the grease. So I just used the same frying pan throughout the whole process. So whatever flavoring was on that last little bit of meat that I just did is on there now. Smells good, doesn't it, right? So I just like to do it this way, right? I find that if you put it a little cooked, it holds its shape better. Right? Plus you burn off a bit of the fat. But whatever. You know how I feel about grease. I don't see it as an enemy of the state. It's good for the body. Okay. Now I'm going to piece all that in there. Fry up what's on that plate, and as that's frying, I'm going to clean this up and get ready for the pressure canner. And of course I'm going to use this broth in there. Okay, so now it's like going on 8:30 or something like that p.m. I'm pushing myself serious, like you can't imagine. I'm tired. So this is the pork that I did today, the thicker one, right? Okay, this is the thin one, right? I did 2 separate trays, right? And that one was a different kind of fat, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But this one here should solidify into yard, but what I'm doing is I'm going to technically can it, YouTube style, one of them anyway. I've got my jars, three jars. I'm probably going to only need 2. In my convection oven at 250, okay, because 250 is sterilizing jars, basically. And then I'm going to heat this up just as it starts to come to a little boil, okay? It's at 250, okay, whatever. As soon as it starts to look like it's going to start boiling, then I'm going to scoop it up and put it into my sterilized jars, right, once they're done. And I'm going to put my lids, which I've cleaned and dried. You don't want no moisture on them, right? Water is the conductor for mold and that type of thing. So, wipe the rim, put the lid on, screw your band over, turn the jar upside down, let it stay like that for about 5 minutes or so, right? And then it sterilizes the lid, flip it over, and just with the whole heat of all of it, it should seal the jar, and that's how people do it. Or some people put it in their oven, right, at 250 after the fact. Okay, I wouldn't recommend pressure canning it, because pressure canning makes things, steam and liquid will go right through the lid. That's why oftentimes after you take off your lid, the canner lid, you find that your jar lids are practically off, right? They unscrew themselves, right? That's why you only do finger tight to let the air out or excess liquid, depending on what needs to come out of the jar in order for it to not crack. See, I'm blinking out here. I just got into a daze. It's so hard for me to work in this kitchen with my eyes, man. You can't imagine. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. And then after this is done, obviously I got a long way to go. I got an hour to go yet. and then about a half an hour or so to let it cool. And then I am going to can this stock. And I'll let this one sit all night. And then tomorrow, well, I may can that meat on those ribs with stock, or I may just put the meat on those trays and do the barbecue thing again and just can the stock. And then I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I whip through that stuff real fast, people. Okay, so we're going to see what happens. You can see what I'm doing, right? So everything was at 250 jars, right? I'll give it a few more minutes. Turn it upside down. And then we'll see how it solidifies. And the jar should seal eventually on its own. This is the one with the, I'll just call it the softer fat, a different kind of fat. I don't know what kind of fat it was on the hog, but anyway, I'm doing the same thing. Only I'm going to put those two jars over there and put this one over there. I should probably put something on it so I don't mix them up, right? And we'll just see what the difference is between the two batches after it cools down and everything. Okay, so it's about 15 minutes to midnight now. What a long day. So I'm on my last 6 jars of one size quart of stock, the first stock. Oh man, was it ever good? No regrets. And then we've got the other pot gonna cook all night, and then that's all I'm doing tomorrow is canning stock, assuming that I like it. Okay? If I don't like it, I'm not canning it. If I like it, I'll can it. I'll see if I can maybe degrease that one, clear out my fridge a little bit. It depends, right? This batch of meat that I did today, I forgot to put a half a teaspoon of salt in each jar. Now, mind you, some of them were already flavored, but whatever. Those ones got a half a teaspoon. Okay. I looked up midnight snack tomato, and I guess they do that, people. That's normal. I have a whole bunch in the front. I didn't know what to do with them, but that's what a midnight snack tomato looks like. I'm just saying. So, 25 minutes for quart size with stock in a pressure canner, right? So hold on. Oh yeah, I wanted to say. Now this is cooled down, but it's not doing anything. Look at that. It looks like liquid gold. That's the one that was the more fatty one. This one is more supposed to be looking like lard, but it's not doing anything, people. Do you see this? And it's cool. So what happened? I hope it solidifies. Right? You would think it would start by now. Cool down, but it's not doing anything. It melted my, the bottom of my funnel. Like I said, I packed away some of my canning stuff in a container. I don't know where the container is. I have a metal one in there. And, I hope that solidifies. Well, we'll find out. Hold on. Okay, so these jars are going nuts. Popping. They keep popping. Okay, my battery is almost done. Look. What a day. 2 days. What do you think, people? Pretty cool, eh?
Get out of the way.
Oh, my little grandson. He's such a handsome little baby boy. He's a slugger. He's like gotten big.
Yeah.
He is, he is.
Oh, you're perfect.
And of course, Mickey the gardener cat. She's always got it. Bring out. Did you see Mickey until I brought out the camera? No, Mickey has not been here until I brought out the camera. Right, Mickey? As soon as the camera comes out, out comes Mickey.
No, she's looking at the bunny.
Well, she probably doesn't know what to think about it.
I feel
Right,
like
Alea
she's
May?
gonna attack.
Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me, Mom.
Oh. Snow Puff.
Yes.
Snow Puff. Hello. Hello. Oh. Here's a pretty little rabbit. Huh? Pretty little rabbit with a pretty little girl. Huh? Is that your rabbit, Lammy? Yeah. And then there's Mickey.
Mickey by me.
Mickey's always in the picture. Always.
And who is she by?
Mickey will live 25 years just so she can be a YouTuber. Right, Tisha? How old is Mickey? Oh, she's 25 years.
She's, how long have you been in this house for?
11.
She's like 10.
She's 10 years old right now, but Mickey will live for 25 years. What is that, Mickey? Oh. Oh, Mickey. Oh, what was that? Huh? A little rabbit.
Mickey just smelled the rabbit.
Yeah, well, Mickey doesn't know what to think about the rabbit. Mickey thinks that may be competition. Is that competition? Mm. Yeah, a new member in the family. Is that it, Mickey?
Or like a new member in a cat family.
Yeah.
Be nice to Snow Puff.
Yeah.
I'm passing out.
Okay, so I'm going to work on finishing this video throughout the day in terms of whatever it is that I'm doing now. Yesterday, I spent a lot of time with my little grandson, my baby grandson. Oh, he's so cute. And because I've been working so hard, people, I just ended up crashing early. And you know how you power sleep, you get caught up on your sleep. Well, I kind of got caught up in my sleep. Anyway, it's going on 11 in the morning now. It's, what is it, August 2nd, 2021. I picked the plums yesterday from the tree because my landlady came by, obviously, for her rent. And she didn't take as many as she wanted, or not as she wanted. She didn't take as many as she normally does. So I've got 2 bowls there, and of course I've got the apples from the tree. So today I'm going to have to can apples and plums. I'm going to do that first before I get into finishing up with the stalks that I made, because I have a pot of stock now in the fridge, right? The last pot that I made, it's been strained and whatnot, and it's in the fridge, so I'm going to degrease that one, because that one I'm just canning as stock. I haven't even washed these jars yet. They're all greasy, okay? And when that time comes and when they get in the canner, I'm gonna tell you something about that. But in the meantime, I'm having to go through what I've already canned. And these jars here I have to wash yet. These jars I'm labeling and putting in the box. And of course I'm trying not to have panic attacks here, right? You know, because it is what it is. You can only do so much in a day, and this is important. You know, it's funny, right? Because on BitChute, right? You know, because you can't censor comments, eh? You can't censor comments on BitChute, right? Because of just the way their comment section works. I got this troll, you know how I got this troll, right? Coming in with their fake usernames, you know, hiding behind the computer. Oh, that garbage needs to go out in the trash. It's not fit for human consumption. I'm telling you, people, if I had to put a dollar amount on what Pastor Granny gave me in terms of the cost of the meat, at $350, $400 if I was to go to the grocery store and buy it. And you see, that's the thing. It came from a grocery store. It came from the butcher's table. It came from the butcher's freezer. So I wouldn't consider it to be garbage and unfit for human consumption. Okay? Honestly, I didn't like having to dig through the bag the way one bag was in, well, two bags really. But, you know, considering everything and what it would have costed if I was to buy it in a grocery store from where it came from, all nicely laid out, right, in terms of, you know, you go shopping for meat. Like, you know, all I can think of is when the shit hits the fan, whoever that individual is, I kind of have an idea. When the shit hits the fan, they'll be the ones digging through the fucking garbage, looking for any kind of scrap of food. Doesn't matter what it is. Because right now, with the way society is, you know, you've got your people who don't eat pork. Muslims, not all, but a lot of them, oh, I don't eat pork, ugh, right? And then you've got people who don't eat beef, oh, I would never eat beef, right? And then you've got people who would never eat fish, ooh, I would never eat fish. Then you've got people who don't eat nothing, except for maybe fucking bug food, right? In terms of like a vegan burger and with no milk product, no egg product, no nothing, right? So, you know, you can't satisfy people, right? Until the shit hits the fan. Because when the shit hits the fan, all those people with their picky eating habits, they're not going to sit up there when they're starving saying, ew, I don't want to eat beef. Ew, I don't want to eat fish. Ew, I don't want to eat pork. Ew, I don't want milk. Ew, I don't want cheese. Ew, I don't want egg. Ew, ew, ew. No. No, chances are they're probably going to try and rob you of what you have, regardless of what it is. So, you know, when you get criticized for whatever it is that you are doing because you are trying to do the right thing, okay? You just remember that whoever the one is fucking criticizing you is the one that's going to try and rob you of what you have, or they're going to try and worm in, be your best friend, pretend that they like you, offer to help you, just so that they can eat your food and talk behind your back because they were too freaking lazy to go out there and food prep for themselves. So, just remember that, okay? Right? Right? Now, I did tell Pastor Granny, I can't take no more. Not right now, anyway. Maybe in about 3-4 months from now, when things calm down and, you know, I've got some extra time on my hands and, you know, and I don't mind. But outside of that, like, it's a real shame, people, that the community isn't helping her to disperse this food, you know, in a more economical manner where it reaches more people. Because I'm telling you, it is perfectly fine. It came straight from the freaking butcher's table, whether it was pork, beef, right, chicken. What, you don't eat chicken? Oh, well, starve then. Starve, because you deserve to fucking starve with an attitude like you got for the ones with the bad attitude. Just remember that. Don't fucking feel sorry for them, right? Give them the scraps and tell them to get lost, okay? Because they're the ones who will stab you in the back and fucking rob from you. And then still talk bad about you. Because they're so miserable with their own damn lives. So outside of that, I'm just gonna hang in there. You hang in there, April, okay? Like, seriously, man. I had to power sleep, okay? Because I've been going on the go, that I just said sleep, just sleep. Just sleep, because if you sleep, you're gonna get up and you're gonna have energy. So I made myself sleep, and I got energy. So I'm good. I'm good for the day. I can probably go pretty much for the full day right up until the evening. And my goal is get all these jars off the table, off the counters. All right, I'll show you in a minute. Okay? And then, you know, take a few more downstairs in terms of they're done. They need to go downstairs. I don't have time to put them away right now, but just take them down. And I'm getting first, because I have to wash these ones yet, right? I should have washed them yesterday, and I gotta wash that stock over there. But before I get into stock again, I'm gonna do the apples today, as many as I can. Probably 24 jars, because I've got the plums, right? So that's plum applesauce for Amari, okay? So I'll probably end up doing 20, and don't forget, I don't have an oven, so it just takes a little longer because I have to boil my jars versus putting my jars into the oven, right? And I'm not going to be going up and down using my son. And there's something wrong with my son's oven. I think I'm going to have to get a new stove downstairs. It's not working correctly. It's too hot for whatever the temperature is. I have to check it out. So anyway, I'm just going to work on apples and plums, and then we'll see how it goes. And if I can finish off another 6 more jars of stock with those ribs off the bone in there for soups, right? I'll see what happens by the end of the night on that one. See how my energy level goes. But outside of that, I mean, apples are still dropping. So I'll probably still can a few more apples over the next week. But within a week, I suspect there won't be any more apples on the tree, just whatever's in my fridge. But then the grapes are going to be coming in, so I'll do apple grape or grape for Amari. If I do it for Amari, just remember that, okay? Amari in this situation has to come first. And you have to clean up, tidy up, right, as I go. So I'll start wiping things down to cut on the grease, right? So once I get these out, you get that orange, that orange solution. I'll show you, right? It's nice. I'll just wipe everything down. And then I'm going to get into apples and apples and plums. And I'm not going to worry right now about anything outside of getting this stuff done. Because, one, it's the right thing to do. And it goes down to waste not, want not, right? And God helps those who help themselves. And in this situation, I'm helping myself with my family, knowing that I've got food in the house that didn't come from the fucking garbage can, okay? Yeah, it came from the butcher shop. It came off the butcher's table. It came from the butcher's freezer. Just remember that. Okay, so moving along here, these jars I have to wash, right? Like I said, I had to do a power sleep. So, take off the rims, wash everything. All right, I'll end up moving them onto this counter. This box is ready to go. So we got the 3 chicken breasts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pork. And then we've got the 4 ground beef plus the 1 in the fridge, right? Okay, and then we've got lard, which seems to work, but when you do this, I don't know if I think it's on this video, get the metal. I have a metal funnel, but again, I put that stuff away last year, so, because it kind of like warped the plastic one because it was so hot. So, just for general information. Now, because I'm trying something here, I am not putting these in the fridge. Do not store anything in long-term food storage with a rim like that, because that will end up eating through there. I only used it because I was short on rims considering what I've been doing, right? And I didn't want to go downstairs hunting for rims. And now that it's sealed, because it's sealed, this is sealed now, it should be fine. So I'm going to end up taking these off, right, wiping everything down, and I'm going to put them downstairs as is. This one, as we suspected, would be runny inside. We knew that was going to happen. But it's sealed, so this one I'm going to put in the fridge. Now, I still have 2 bowls of fat, okay, because I did it twice. I just haven't jarred them up yet. But this one I'm going to end up putting in the fridge. You can see what's going on there. Sealed, and then when things calm down, I'm going to open it up and we're going to find out what we get. Whereas these ones, different kind of lard, right? These ones, right? They should stay like this for a long time, assuming that they don't pop. But again, you want it in a cool place, right? So here's the broth. The next time I do broth, I'm going to recommend that after you turn off your pressure canner, everything drops. Your little indicators to tell you that the pressure in the canner has dropped. I'm warning you right now, don't open them. Just let it sit for an hour after the fact. Because if you open up the pressure canner too soon, even though you can, this stuff goes into a vortex. And it popping the lid, closing the lid, popping the lid, closing the lid. Because it's... I have a video back in the day. I forgot, okay? So just for the sake of, right, when you do, we're going to do broth again. The next time I do broth, I won't be opening up my canner even after the pressure goes down for an hour, hour and a half, too. I'm going to just let it cool down in the canner because one jar did not seal. And with it popping and closing, popping and closing, popping and closing, you know, I've had it happen before. I just forgot not to open the canner. Okay? Just all I'm saying is don't open it too soon. So we got one jar of this in the fridge. So, and we've got the one jar of the hamburger in the fridge, which you already seen, right? So I'm going to probably combine the two of them later, not maybe today, but maybe tomorrow or the next day, and I'm going to make a soup with it. Okay, hold on. So as you can see, all washed, took the other box down. We'll label this up after. I have to do these things because if I don't, they're like ripe, right? My landlady took the ones that were a little harder, where I've got the more riper ones, which is better for me, right? But if you don't get on it right away, it's even if you put them in the fridge after the fact, right? So I have to do these, so I'm going to wash them, right? Go sort them out, pit them, and get them in a pot, start cooking them, and then I'm going to get into apples. I'll probably do about 24 jars between this and apples. I have enough apples. Hold on a minute. See? And I still have a few more, right? All organic, people. Oh my God, these apples are so good. So that's what I have to do today. Hold on. Okay, so I washed these ones. These ones are extremely ripe. These ones... we're still on the tree. That one's no good, right? Okay, but you can see what's happening. Wandering eye, sorry. Right, you can see what's happening. So I got mine off the tree. Okay, this was on the ground across at the neighbors, right? Because I asked them this year. They said they wanted some plums. But as I was up in the tree, I noticed they hadn't picked anything up off the ground. So when I knocked on the door, I asked them if they were still wanting the plums. They said they weren't ripe yet, and I said, well, the ones on the ground are, but they said they didn't want the ones on the ground because they're picking them from the tree. And I'm like, okay, well, you better check them every day because they're ripening every day now, right? You know, in terms of, like, right, like, these things are really, really, really fickle, okay? I suggested cutting them in half, freezing them, and then, you know, they like to eat they grow a lot of vegetables and stuff, like leaf, right? Like different kales and that type of thing. I said you could take it out of the freezer, put it in a little saute pan with some butter, you know, warm it up, and then sprinkle sugar on top, and it would probably be very, very good, right? If you're waiting, you know, like if for some reason you don't want to wait for each and every one to ripen on the tree because, you know, there's only so much on that side, and as you can see, they're falling down on the ground. For me, I told her they're perfectly fine because I'm cooking mine and I'm blending them in with apples for my grandson. Now, this here, I paid, what did I pay for this, people? What was it, $80 or was it 100 and some odd dollars? I don't remember. I'd have to look up my bill, okay? But I got this from the States. This is organic, right? I haven't opened it up yet. Obviously, I had Amari on mine. These are the same type of plums as these ones, okay? But, you know, I don't, right? I would, if once these run out, I would order more, okay? I'm going to be jarring this up at some point. I just haven't done it yet, right? But these ones, definitely, like, that's the same plum. It's the same plum. It's just I dehydrated and I found that mine didn't come out like that, and you know, whatever. I like it with the jars. So that's what I'm going to do, Okay, today, as much as I can. Hold on. Okay, so these things are like basically ripe because I'm like munching on them, right? They have a little bite to them. Unless, of course, you get them to this state. Trying to ripen them in the house is extremely hard. And if you were trying to ripen them in the house a little more to get them even sweeter, you'd have to lay them out individually, in my opinion, and not touching each other, right, to prevent that, because they get a white film on them. Okay. Should be investigated. And you'd only leave it for a day or two, otherwise it's going to spoil ASAP, because these things are very sensitive. So, with that said, being that I've tried working with these before, and it's one of those situations, waste not, want not, I'm basically just going to cook them all up in my big pot, can you see? And then I'll take half of what's here, and I've got a few more apples kicking around, and I'll make another batch. You can see that's a lot, right? So it'll be apple and plum, and then the other half that's cooked, I'll put in the fridge, because I'm not going to get it all done in one day, people. It's already 2:30 in the afternoon, is what I mean. Right, but I'll deal with it the other half tomorrow or the next day, because there's more apples coming, right? Or maybe I'll just can them up as is. It's hard to say. Because as it is right now, like this one wasn't really ripe, but you blend it in with these ones and apples, right? It's going to still be... From this case and another case I'm working on. Like some of them I might be able to put out on a plate and let them dry. Not this one though. Right? Because I know how these things can... I don't know. They're a hard plum to work with. Our main goal is to clear his name for his children. That's what they make this stuff out of. The bonus would be for all of these people that were there. Okay, so I'm going to try this. This is a rack. I washed it. Alright, it's like I said, working with these plums is like really hard. Because they don't get... You expect like a really sweet plum, right? And they have a bite to them, okay? Unless they're extremely ripe, and it's very hard to get them in that state without, so if you notice what I'm doing here, I'm kind of spreading them apart. I've tried them in a box before, covered them up, whatever, that didn't work, right? These ones here, it's a hit and miss, right? So I'm going to let them stay out for a day or two, but I want them to breathe. Because I don't want them getting that little white. It's not a mold, it's just a fungi, right? Because it's getting ripe, that's why. Right? And see if it does well, because like this, like really, this should be going in the pot. Okay? So I may can these ones in a, what is it called? As American citizens were trapped in Afghanistan. In a syrup. We'll see. Or I'll cook them up like I am with this batch here. They have histamines. My landlady said that she hasn't been feeling well for quite a long time, and she's losing weight. I told her she needs to stop wearing these masks, and that it might have something to do with this inoculation that she took. She said, oh, no. And I'm like, yeah, well, you were really, really healthy before you took it. Oh, no, I went to Pakistan in November of 2019 or something like that, and something happened and my throat started getting itchy, and it's been itchy ever since. Yeah, well, you didn't start looking gray. One day, like a month or two ago, people, honest to God, I never said anything to her, but she showed up at the door, and she looked gray. Like, literally, she looked gray. I was so worried for her, but she's always telling me she's okay. So, but yesterday when she came for rent, she was telling me she's not okay. I told her to stop wearing these masks. I gave her pine needles for tea. She says she eats something. She started coughing. I'm eating these things and I'm coughing. It make my throat itchy. I said, yeah, but you never smoked a day in your life. She said, no, right? I said, yeah, just stop wearing these masks. But she won't listen to me, though. Right. So, hopefully she'll be okay. Hold on. See what I'm doing there. Okay, okay, you can see what I'm doing here. So we're going to leave it like that for a day or two, right? It doesn't really need that much, okay? These things are so fickle and so sensitive. Okay? Okay, so I am now finally done, and it is like 2 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, it takes all day. So those, I'm just going to can those in another day or two. We'll just see how they hold up like this. Okay. Alright. See, they're soft. They're already, right? So I might have to do these tomorrow, and I'm just doing them. I get some sugar. I'm just doing them in syrup. That'll get me, I don't know, a few jars. But that's the plum and the apple. And the plum has a tart bite to it. It's good, but it's not one of my favorite. But it's free. And it's nutritional. Okay? Okay, I'm still working on this video. I'm going to finish it off after I can the next batch of broth. It's in the fridge. I'm going to skim off the fat. Then I'm going to can it, right? And we won't get so much of this, okay? But we know I've been rushed. So anyway, I just put down spiced, I just put down spiced beef, okay? And these jars here, when they're, I don't know if you can see that. Do you see? It's just a slight indentation there. You know, when I see them like that, people, I don't necessarily put them away long term. Because something's compromised, okay? These lids are not as great as they used to be, okay? And then we've got this one here. Sometimes this happens. Do you see? Now that's just with the jar sealing. More than likely, it's fine. So what I'm saying is, when I see stuff like this, when it's sealed, right, I just kind of put them closer. See, here it is again. It has to do with the canning process, and just, you know, they're making these lids thin now, eh? Okay? So, this is what our lard looks like, and I got actually lard in the fridge that I have to do, so I'm trying to get away from canning here. Although, you can see what you got there, right? Those are, okay. Those are my fish jars. So this is ready to go downstairs. Right. I see water. I'm washing lids. I'm washing jars, right? This is tart. Apple plum. It's tart. One jar, I didn't screw on the lid. Okay? I didn't screw it on enough. It was late last night, right? 2 o'clock in the morning, that was finished. And look what happened. So, that's full of water, right? Because I was wondering about that. I thought I maybe missed one, and I think I did. Other than that, everything else is fine. So let the jars dry, label them. I'm going to put tart, plum, apple, right? Because it's tart. You could use it with meats and that kind of thing. Almost make a tarty barbecue and use it as a base if you didn't want to eat it like that, right? Whatever. It's like a condiment, right? It depends. I mix it in with other things, right? With Amari. But I don't know. Well, we'll see if he likes it, because this one's tart. Because of the plums. That's what it is, right? Now, I have to can these plums because they're soft. You can see. Oops, sorry, wandering eye. You can see it's soft. You see? It's tart. You can't get away from it, even when they're ripe. Right? They're good, but they're ready to be canned. So I probably should can those today because they're soft. One day out. Oh boy. Oh yeah, I know. I know. Nana made this last night. And guess what? You like it. Hmm? Oh yeah, I know it's good. It's good. What we have is that pablum, which is really, really high in all kinds of vitamins, with whipped cream. He's on his toilet right now. Oh yeah, it's so tough. It's tough. It's tough. Hold on. So, it might be an all-dayer. Off and on. Maybe. He needs, I don't know what's going to happen when they do this hip surgery, because sitting on the toilet really is the best thing for him. I had to use a suppository because I haven't been using the toilet for the last little while here, and nothing happening, right? So I have to put him on the toilet all the time. It just works best for him. When I go see this hip doctor, I'm going to tell him, I don't know how you expect him to poo if he's in braces and shit. Not allowed to sit up and whatever. I don't know what's going to happen. Alright? Seriously. See, he likes it. Right? So what we got is real whipping cream with the pablum, which is I bought for the nutrients, right? More than anything. And it mixes up nice too. So that's with real whipping cream and a little bit of water, but more whipping cream. And then what I made last night, right? So, because it's good, right? It's addicting, right? It has that little tart taste to it because of the plums, but it's good, right? This one here has the apple from the tree and the plums from the tree. And he just loves it. You can see this. So Nana didn't waste her time last night. No. I know, and I'm thinking maybe I can cook something with it too. You know, you could make a shrimp sauce with it, even. Add some horseradish to it or something. It's almost like you can make a tangy barbecue sauce, or you could do a tangy shrimp sauce for it. You could cook it with pork, right? Cook it with chicken. And, you could even cook it with, look, he's eating more of that. Whoops. See, I don't know. He's eating more of that than he is the other stuff. Yeah, what happens if I just give it to you straight up by itself? What do you think? Shall we try it? Huh? Let's see. Ooh, can you taste it? It's good, eh? See, he doesn't mind it. He likes it. Look. He got his mouth, see? Did Nana do a good job? Did I do a good job? I sure did. Anytime you gobble it up like you do, I know I did the right thing. Yeah. I sure did. I'll have to make another batch. Everything's jarred up. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you would like it. I'm going to be doing something later with those plums. So, we'll see. Maybe I'll do this again. Maybe. Now that I know that he likes it, and it's not too tart for him, I might just take those other plums and just do it again. Alright. I have plums already all cooked up in a jar with syrup, some downstairs from years ago. Alright. And I think I did some last year, so it's not like I really need them. I would use this more than all those jars you've seen with food in them from last night is everything that I feed him when I make this stuff. Yeah. See, he ate all that first. Alright. So there you go. Nana did a good job, eh? So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make another batch. Now that I know that you like it, that makes more sense to do that. Yes, it does. It makes more sense to do that than to can it in sugar syrup. I don't need it in sugar syrup. I got some downstairs already. Stop grinding your teeth. Ugh. Okay, hold on. How do you turn this off? Is it still on him? Yep. Say bye-bye. Okay, so all I'm doing now is just adding in more whipping cream. Can you see? Right? And then maybe what I'll do is I could probably give him a little bit of this. Right? That would be good. He's saying to me, "Where did you go, Nana?" Hey? Where did Nana go? Huh? You want more, right? I know you do. This time, no, we got that almond butter, but Nana has to bust up those little bits of pieces there. And we got some extra whipping cream. What do you think about that? Yeah, you'll like this too. I don't want to open up another jar because it's already sealed. But I'll make another batch. Probably not today because I want to do the lard. And the rest of that... oh boy. The rest of... just take a little bite. Taste it. The rest of that broth. Plus I have a little bit of crackling I have to do something with. But definitely I have to can up the lard there. So we'll be... I should probably end this video and then just start again when I'm ready to start canning again with the... Can you taste it? That's almond butter. Start up when I'm ready to start canning again. Because the videos, I'm just showing you. You have to just keep going like an ever-ready battery, okay? Until it's all said and done. I'm trying to wind down, but obviously I still have stuff I have to do. Right? So, I'm so looking forward to it. And then I'm going to take a little reprieve, assuming that Pastor Granny doesn't come and spring another box or two on me. Because that's what she does. She just comes by and gives me a box of this and a box of that. Which I'm very grateful for. Yeah. But I would prefer a box of something maybe in another month or so. I'm not putting away my canner. I thought about it, and I'm like, no. Just get caught up with everything. Get the boxes on my sewing table out in the mail. Clear off this, clear off that, right? I got my computers back, right? So, I need to set up something here. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Obviously, I got yard work to do. There you go. Look, see, he's eating it. You like that? It's an Amari day today. Yeah, it's an Amari day. All day. Yeah. Hopefully you won't be there too long. See, if I don't put him on the toilet regularly, this is what happens. And even then, when he's on the... Sometimes he has to be on the toilet 2-3 days in a row before it comes out. But if I don't put him on the toilet for... hoping he'll, do for himself, just whatever. I'm testing to see if he'll do, and he's not doing nothing. And I need to mention that to the hip surgeon, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to allow me to put him on a toilet for I don't know how long. But if that's the case, what's going to happen? Am I going to have to give him enemas, right? Or am I going to have to give him every day certain kind of food for X amount of months with some kind of stool softener that they give me, which isn't necessarily good for him? Oh boy. I don't know. Yeah, you like that, eh? See, now it's just the pablum with the extra cream. I didn't even put the maple sugar on it, but I did add in about a teaspoon of that almond butter. And I didn't really get a chance to crush it up, but I'm trying to break it up, so if he's coming across little chunks, he's handling it pretty good. Yeah. So this is packed with not only calories, but it's packed with really, really good nutrients. Yes, it is. Yeah, and Nana's is just glad that I didn't waste my time last night, because I wasn't too sure if you were going to like that with it being so tardy, but it's kind of addicting when you eat it. Right? I'm so looking forward when everything's done with the kitchen. I want my organic chickpeas. I want my organic pea soup. I'm so looking forward to it. You don't know. I want to grind my wheat, make my bread. Yeah. Or whatever it is. Oh, there we go. Oh, what did you do? Did you do something? You know, don't you? Huh? You know, right? You did something. Good boy. Good boy, you did it. Good, but there's more. I know there's more. I know there's more. Yeah, you're not done yet. No. Oh, all right. Yeah. I sure love Amari, though. Yeah, I do. I love Amari. Amari's a good boy. He's a really good boy. Very happy. Very easy to get along with. Yeah. You see, I told you weren't done. And now we're almost done, so I'll just leave him for a bit and then come back and I'll get him some juice. That's what I'll do. Okay, I guess I'm still working on this video. Alright, Amari, he ate all that food. So, you see what happened is, that's like a 1/4 inch thick. Almost. In terms of grease. Okay? It's been sitting in the fridge. So, obviously, you take off that surface fat. Right? I don't want it. Okay? I thought about taking the meat off of this. Sorry, wandering eye. I thought about taking the meat off of this, putting it in a jar with the broth, but this is fatty. And I liked it better when I put it in trays with the barbecue sauce. Right? I'm not going to break it up. I'm going to leave it as is because right, I will cook some up for, like, I'll take and I'll make in my convection oven, right? So I can eat over the next day or two with Andre and Amari. Really. Okay, because, you know. And then here, we're going to skim this off, heat it up. I'm going to taste it, because I haven't tasted it yet. And then I'm going to can it. Hold on. Okay, so now I'm going to heat it up. Look at this. Oh, look at that. That is nice. Okay. Like, real nice. I don't know if we'll do that in a jar after the fact. Probably not, because this was in the fridge. But look at that. Right? Oh, my God. Let's taste it. Let's taste it without... all I did was a little bit of salt. Right? When I started cooking it. It's mild. And it's good. I might add in a pot like this either a teaspoon up to a tablespoon of salt. And then that would be it. So yeah, I'll finish this video after I get this done and the lard, okay? This lard here, it's canned, right? I did it in my convection oven with the jars, only because my oven doesn't have its element yet. And anyway, I'm going to do this again with the lard you'll see that I have in the fridge. And then these, because I do have a fridge in Auntie Shemay's room downstairs, because it's sealed, right? I'll probably just put them in the fridge as is, right? I mean, I might leave one out, because you don't have to. That's the point of canning it, right? But since I have a fridge. Okay, so you can see I'm keeping pretty steady pace here, right? So get these downstairs. Once those other ones are done, right, I'll get them in a box. That's ready to go downstairs. I'll do plums starting tomorrow, or maybe I'll cook them up tonight. I'll see how they are by tonight, because I can always cook them up tonight and then put them in the fridge and then can them tomorrow with apples, because I get tired, right? It's already 3:30 and I haven't even done this yet, and I want to get this lard out of here. So after that, you know, I just trying to clear this stuff out. I'm not going to worry about those boxes right now, because it's either I'm going to buy fish at some point in the next month or 2 or 3, or maybe Pastor Granny will give me another box of meat and I'll, right, use that for that purpose. We'll see. But that's not a priority. The priority is to finish, because hold on a minute, I'll show you. See, April, I have to get these out of here. Okay? So I got Tisha running around looking for jars for me. This is whole milk, non-fat powder milk, whole milk powder, right? This is 50 pounds of soybeans. This is kidney beans and some sprouting stuff, I'm pretty sure. So I have to get this all into jars. I got to get it out of here, right? Okay. And then, so now that it's at a high boil, you just bring it down and cook it just for a little while. Right? And because there's no meat, nothing in it, it's in the pressure canner for, I think, 25 minutes. If there was meat in it, in a quart size, you'd be looking at 90 minutes. In a pint, it's 75. But because there's no meat in it, it's only like 25 minutes. Double check, Google it, okay? Or get a book. And then when it's in there, and after everything stops and everything drops, the pressure drops, honest to God, don't open your lid. Just let it sit like that for an hour or two. Because as soon as you open your lid, you get these things going into a vortex, and the lid is popping and closing and popping and closing and pop, because you get this vortex that, right? And then it sucks back in, and it sucks back in, right? So if you just leave it in there without disturbing it too much, it's not so apt to be so aggressive Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, so somebody's working in my favor again. It was, that pot filled up exactly 6 jars. Like, seriously. You couldn't get any closer than what it already got. So. Okay, I just want to point out here, I don't know if this moved itself, or if I didn't close it enough. But as I was venting, I'm noticing it doesn't move that much in terms of locking, but before I start using this, I have to turn it off. Just let it cool down. Close it more. Right? I don't know. Normally there's just a slight little lip here. There's hardly anything. I can barely feel it. So it kind of makes me scared, right? Okay, so you seen what I did, right? I didn't start mucking with it until the pressure that dropped, okay? I think what happened was this handle was loose because I moved it over, and then I took the butter knife to it and tightened it, okay? Because there's a screw. Where's my finger? See? Right. Now I can feel the lip, okay? The lip was on this side. You can see the lip on that side. Right? You can see, right? Okay? So just keep there. You see? It's already, but I have to vent it again, okay? Okay, so now it's September 4th, 2021. I'm going to finish this video. So, what happened was I canned the broth from the second batch after it was basically degreased with having the pot in the fridge so that the fat could solidify and you can scrape it off before you can it. This is the one that wasn't degreased, I guess you could say. This one was. As you can see, it's still a fair amount. Okay. Now, on this one, this batch, I had, how many jars? I had 6 jars. One didn't seal, and that's still in the fridge. I don't want to pull things down. Hold on a minute. I'm going to pull this, okay. Now, these ones have been sitting here ever since. They're going down. You can see what's happening here, right? All right. You pick it up from the rim. Okay? That's fine. Right? Okay? This is a heavy jar because it's full, right? But basically, these are sealed. Otherwise, they'd pop off. Okay? Same with this one. Now, when you're canning stock, this is why I'm turning on the camera and finishing up this video. It's best if you can get this size in terms of a rim versus this size. Cut back on grease. Because when I came out this morning, 3 jars didn't seal. Now, it could be something to do with the actual lids themselves, right? Or maybe because I left it in a canner this time, and I didn't take them out until after that vortex was done spinning around, right? Because I had the 1 jar pop with the first batch because of that vortex spinning around, popping the jar, sucking it in, popping the jar, sucking it in, popping the jar, sucking it in. Okay? In this situation, if that was occurring, it was occurring inside the pressure canner. However, 3 jars didn't seal. These ones are okay. You can see. Right? I'm showing you how to do it. Okay? You don't have to take it far off the ground. Far off the counter. But you got to lift it up a little bit. Because if the seal is no good, wandering eye, it's going to drop. Okay? So those ones are fine. For the most part. I'm done now with broth. Okay? I'm trying to, hold on. I'm trying to wind up here with stuff, but I'm basically burnt out. And of course, I've got things to clean and sort out and da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So, now I'm just basically going into dry goods, getting them out of their boxes, or whatever, right? That will be my next video or two. And just putting all that stuff away. Wondering if it's going to make a difference in terms of a potential food crisis because of what our governments are doing on a grand scale when it comes to food distribution, right? I already said that there was something wrong with the UV rays this year in terms of it was bright and sunny, but whatever it is that makes plants flourish just wasn't in the rays this year, okay? There wasn't that many insects to pollinate things, okay? And something is basically, I don't know, killing off plants. And if it's not that, they're making them infertile, right? They're not producing the fruit. They might produce the flower, but they're not going into fruit, right? Because there's nothing to pollinate, or it's just something going on. I figure a lot of it has to do with the UV rays this year, and the weather was right. Like we're coming into another cold snap again. Anyway. And then, of course, the farmers are having issues, right, with drought and just that kind of stuff. Cold weather or hot weather, drought, probably experiencing that same UV ray situation, right? Obviously, when it's out in an open field, it's different than in your yard, but okay. So, I don't know if spending all that money on food prepping stuff in general, whether it was food or whether it was to make cheese or make tofu. I bought a little tofu maker and a little cheese maker, and, but I bought a lot of food, people. Again, this year. I did that last year, too. And I'm like, well, you can hunker down. The point is will your government let you hunker down, or will the government come in and steal it all? Literally, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how long can I hunker down before my government comes in and steals it all? Because of the things that they're doing. That much of it I disagree with. I seen my landlady look like metal, okay? She was gray, literally fucking gray, when she showed up at my door. Oh, I don't know, it was a month or two ago. I think it was about 2 months ago for her rent. And she looked great, people. And she's already taken both of her inoculations. I have never seen my landlady look gray. Okay? Ever. And then she tells me just a few days ago that she's been getting sicker and sicker. And she's losing weight. And she's not well. I gave her some pine needles. I told her to do some research on, make sure she don't drink those ones, because I'm not sure if those ones are the right ones. But so she's got her whole family now looking up pine needles and what's the best pine needle to consume. She goes, what's in it? I said, I don't know. There's something in it that's good for you. It's something that our governments are depriving us of. And then it makes me wonder if that's why they're cutting down all the freaking trees out here. They're just wiping out all the trees, people. Why? Why are they wiping out all the trees when in fact some of these trees can actually help people to stay healthy? Think about it. So I hope she takes my advice. She didn't take my advice when I told her to stop wearing the masks. She still wears them. I told her it's making her sick. She won't believe me. She says she can't swallow things and stuff. She blames it from going to Pakistan in November of 2020. I'm like, no, you were fine when you've been fine. You were fine until all this shit started happening and you started wearing masks and then you ran off and got your inoculation. And now her health is completely deteriorating. And she knows it. She can feel it. I hope it reverses itself. That's why I told her to start drinking pine needle tea. You've got enough pine trees around. Find which one is best for you. So she's got her family members looking it up for her. I hope she takes my advice. And I hope it helps her, people. I really do. So in the meantime, I'm hunkering down in here, wondering if I'm going to get robbed by my government. I'm not worried about my neighbors. I'm really not. I'm not worried about the homeless people out here. I'm really not. I'm more worried about my government coming in and just taking everything. Just take like they took Uncle John. Take just like they took Shmei's organs. Take like they took Sierra with their movie-making fucking popcorn freaking pay at the door cinema. Just like they took from Amari and Andre and the rest of my family. And they're still taking. And all these healthcare professionals, you know, they're fighting back, right? And when I listen to, don't even call them politicians, I don't know what they are, but when I listen to them out here talking, they're trying to suggest that the healthcare system is, teetering in terms of being stretched out to the max, and we haven't even, come into some dire situation yet. And that's only in part because of what our governments have been doing, right? And, there's nurses shortages or, healthcare for the elderly aid shortages. And if that continues to increase, where does that leave Amari with his hip surgery if it gets real bad and the union fights back? Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take for the union to fight back. But the thing is, the union controls the government, people. That's the thing. We don't think, we're not taught that in school. But basically, it's the union who controls the government. Okay, it's the union that makes the government. Just like they're bringing in all these natives right into their, I don't know what the hell they're trying to do, but it's like they're trying to appoint the native people as government without being elected. That's the way I see it, right? But it's still the union that implements these changes in society. So this is where it becomes that controlled opposition, right? Like I said, 20 months since this all started, going into 21, 22 months. What happened to that lawsuit that everybody was fundraising for a year and a half ago, right? $300,000, where did it go? And who does it represent, really? Who does it represent? Well, so anyway, no regrets. Don't look back, right? It was the right thing to do. Okay, I'm looking really forward to cooking, I guess you could say, right? And but right now, I'm so tired from all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video as is. I start working on converting it. It's probably going to be a long one. I'll pick up with the lard, okay, when it's still in the fridge, and I still have these plums, and I still have this, so we're just going to keep going through it. But I think I need just a tad little break from it today, outside of maybe getting things ready for tomorrow, because I'm exhausted. But I have to go outside and pull a few weeds and work on the compost box. Right? Because the apple peels and the corn husks and that kind of stuff, I have to spread it around, right? Put some grass in there and put some weeds with few roots, and right, and pack it down, run a little, put some sticks in there and put a piece of cardboard in there, and then start that layer all over again, so that I get good dirt at some point in the next year or two, probably two, right? Unless, of course, I want to go deeper down into the box, then I'm getting into some real primo stuff, but that's for another day. So it's not raining, but it's kind of like chilly out there, just a tad bit, it's I don't know how to say it. That's what I'm going to do. So, if you can, they're hard to find because they don't really make them anymore. They make a lot of wide mouth. They make a lot of wide mouth jars, but I never find them juice type jar. Scares you when you do it, right? As if you want greasy soup all over greasy broth all over your counters. This is where you need to go to garage sales, thrift stores, places like that, and specifically look for a regular mouth juice jar that's in a 1 quart size. Okay, because it's less apt to pop if you're popping greasy things. If you're canning greasy things. Obviously, not for meat. Use a wide mouth. Okay? But when it comes to liquid, try to avoid it. But if you have no choice, you have no choice. But in your travels, look for these kind jars. Completely different. Right? Completely different, you can see. This one was canned in 2017. That's my tomato. I didn't even look to see. It doesn't even look like the lid oxidized. Anyway.